Welcome to another day in paradise, and welcome to the answer to your question: how am I supposed to plan my 2025 winter wonderland trip to Norway to see the Northern Lights? And what do I have to keep in mind to have the best experience possible? And for that, I'm going to hit some different categories down, starting with the first category, the seasons. And basically there are two reasons to come to this beautiful country. Either you go in summer for the midsummer, it's called in Swedish, and that is from May to July, so you will have almost no night at all. It will be kind of daylight all day and especially all night long. The second reason to go to Norway, the main second reason, are the Northern Lights, and especially therefore it also makes sense to go way up in the north. And the season for the Aurora Borealis is from September till March, and therefore Tromso is one of the polar night capitals in the whole wide world. This year we made the experience, we had to go quite far out to see the lights actually, so we had to drive over to Finland in the end, but we were also able to see them nearby the city, so that is something to keep in mind. There is no guarantee for anything at all, depending on nature, natural wonders, on animals and stuff like that, but chances are quite high if you are up there, then you might see the lights. Not only is Tromso the northern light capital of the world, but also it is located on a little island within a fjord. So you have two bridges going over to the mainland and the other fjord islands, I would call them. But the airport is on the island and the city center, and that is so cool because flying in is quite an experience, and also everything is nearby, and you will be picked up for tours and such all from within the island. Our accommodations were more outside, so they were a little cheaper-ish. You can see that in the last video. So cheap is not like cheap, but it was cheaper. And then you can go wherever from there, but we are going to come to that later again. And talking about flights, there are so many opportunities by now to get there. There are alone 7 different German airports to fly to there, but also you can get there from France, from Portugal, from Italy, like from everywhere all over Europe with Eurowings alone. And then there are other airlines, but because we took that one, I would highly recommend to take a rental car from the airport right away and then go to the accommodation by that, and then you will be flexible for the whole time, because a lot of things I would highly suggest to do on your own if you can, like chasing the Northern Lights. I would not recommend to do that with a tour. Maybe have an ear open when you are on other tours for suggestions, like we learned from others that all the tours are going to Finland at the point that we were there, and so we copied that strategy to see the Northern Lights. But when you come across these groups, and we did so, we went to Summeroy and there were like 2 or 3 big buses filled with people, and everybody was setting up their tripods. And then when you're all in between, then it might happen, then you will set up your shot, you will click the shutter, and then there will be people, because it is dark, because you want to see the Northern Lights, and they will run around with their flashlights, and you will have them in your photograph or you will have them in your video, and you don't necessarily want that, because that could also destroy your video. And therefore it is way cooler to be on your own, to be able to drive wherever you want. I was kind of skeptical about that, so we hadn't had a rental car from day one. because I wasn't sure about weather conditions and street conditions. But with a 4x4 you will be absolutely fine. We were actually upgraded. I booked just a small car, like the smallest category possible to save some money, but then we were upgraded to 4x4 and I felt pretty safe with that after the first day of driving. So yeah, not too bad at all, and I would rather do it that way. But there will be tours that you can't do like that. The classics like dog sledding, you can't do that on your own. I would highly suggest to do a tour. We did Tamogdalen, and I will link something in here or down in the description below where you can find that. And also there was the whale watching, which was cancelled in our occasion for multiple days, and then in the end we decided not to do it. We were told that it is quite cool to drive out to the fjord already with the boats, but that you have to be kind of skeptical, that you have to really look into the companies, because especially the smaller boats, they will get, like the Zodiacs they are called, they will quite get close to the whales, which is kind of cool as an experience, but not too nice because they are chasing the whales, and especially the orcas. And I don't really like that. So yeah, that was another point that came into consideration when we cancelled that booking. But then there also were other stuff that we decided to do, the Lavu experience, and that is very expensive. But for me, it was something so special that I was really willing to spend the money, because you can't do that like everywhere. And especially the dream of the chance to see the Northern Lights from within your bed with a fireplace. Oh, I loved that idea so much. It didn't happen like that, but that's okay. Still, yeah, I would suggest to do that when you're up there. There are different options from this Lavu, but also when you go into Finland, there are like full-on igloos completely out of glass. Kind of sketchy sometimes, not sketchy, but kind of difficult sometimes, because you will not have a toilet in there, and same goes for the Lavu. You have to walk a little to get to the main house and go to the toilet there, so have that in mind. Then there was stuff like snowmobiling and snowshoe walks and stuff like that. We skipped on all those tours. On the Lavu experience, there was snowshoeing included actually, but we didn't knew that beforehand. And also we were able to cross-country ski there, so that was quite cool, but snowmobiling wasn't worth the money for me. And then there is the option to go to reindeer farms and to learn about the Sami people, which are the native people of the region. But I didn't really I don't like the idea to learn about the culture and everything beyond. But on the other hand, it was also always combined with this reindeer experience, and I rather see wildlife in the wild and not in captivity somewhere. So yeah, we decided to skip on that. And also I find the idea kind of weird to first to go there and feed the reindeer and pet them, and then afterwards you will get some lunch, which is reindeer, and that is kind of weird for me. So yeah, skipped on that one, and then saw them on the side of the road, which was way cooler, and they were roaming free, and it was really awesome. So I would rather suggest to road trip, to drive around and hope for reindeers to show up and then experience them like that. They didn't want it to be petted, but yet still we were able to get quite close and watch them, and that was really, really awesome. And then in Tromso there is like nightlife, there is the famous hot dog stand. Like there are some weird fish dishes which are very famous for that region, but yeah, that's not for me. Reindeer is not for me, but there is a very famous hot dog booth, and there you can get a vegan hot dog, not at the time that we were there, but normally you can get it over there, and I find that kind of cool, so I would suggest that one. Then maybe pay a visit to the Arctic Cathedral. In my opinion, I would not necessarily go in there, but it's really nice to see from the outside already, rather in the dark than at daylight. So I would always combine that with a trip to Storsteinen, which is like a giant rock that you can look onto the city from. So maybe like we did, we walked up, or you can take the Fjellheisen cable car up there, then maybe stay up there until the sun is gone. Like in winter, that doesn't take too long. And then when it's dark, get back down again. Rather do that with the cable car because it's safer, and then visit the Arctic Cathedral because it's just like maybe 10-minute walk from the cable car base. For the accommodation, like in almost all the regions in the world, you can take a hotel or you can take an Airbnb and stuff like that. But from my experience, I would highly suggest to take an Airbnb with a shared part, like a shared kitchen. Yeah, I not necessarily want to share a bathroom. So shared kitchen, because that gives you the opportunity to talk to people. And that is nice everywhere, all over the world, but especially here, I was kind of surprised because the Nordic people, I would call them, are often cliched as cold and a little distant, and they don't want to go into contact that much. But that was not the case at all. Like everybody we talked to was so nice, was so inviting, so heartwarming, friendly, and willing to spend time together. And especially in our second accommodation, that was really nice. There were 3 people living there. Mom was helping us with the sweet video and talked with us, and we were having a game night as well all together. Then the daughter was kind of interested in us and was practicing her English, especially with Kim, a lot, and gifted a Pokemon card at the end, which was really, really sweet of her. And if you're seeing that, hi, I hope you have a really, really good time and practice your English and your skiing skills. And the father of the family actually was a tour guide and was able to tell us a lot about the surroundings, about Sommerøy, where to get and which are cool places, and willingly spend all this information and his knowledge with us. So yeah, I really enjoyed that, and hopefully we will see each other again because we had such a blast with you. So love goes out to you. Leave a like for this awesome family down below. Thank you very much. And talking of that, English in Norway is easy. Like they don't have, like in all of Scandinavia, they don't dub their movies, so they are quite used to the English language early on, and therefore most of the people are speaking really good English, and you will get along really easily. Now I'm going to put the weather chart up here, and you will notice something special, or different special things. First one is it's not getting like that hot, but that shouldn't come as a surprise. But very special are the hours of sunlight, because that differs like a lot. And that makes it so special. Like the Arctic night is very special and brings us all these experiences, but the summer is also special. I've been to Norway a couple of years ago with my brother, and there when we woke up in the middle of the night, it was like, oh, it's morning. We got to keep moving because we were hiking and hitchhiking. And then it was like, no, it's like 3, 4 in the morning. We can't get up yet. We have to try to sleep a little longer, even though it is daylight bright. Yeah, that can be kind of a struggle. But on the other hand, it gives you a lot of energy, which is weird. We had the same experience back in Iceland, where it was like driving around the island, and it was like in the middle of the night, but it didn't felt like it. And you have a lot of energy because of the daylight, and that can be kind of dangerous, but it is kind of cool experience on the same time. Now to the point that you might all be waiting for, the preparation. What is necessary and what is so vital in my opinion. First one is you have to gear up. So crampons or spikes are a necessity in my opinion, because it will get quite slippery. At the time we were there, it was raining a lot and there was still snow and ice, and with the rain and then it got colder and then you have like an icy overlay over everything, that will be quite slippery and you will be lost at some points if you don't have spikes on your feet. And same goes for gloves. I had like two different kind of gloves with me. One were a little thicker because it was cold. It was like minus 15 degrees when we met the reindeers, and when we did the Northern Light chase in the middle of the night, it was minus 15 degrees Celsius, which is like damn freezing cold, and you won't feel your fingers after a while. But on the other hand, you want to take pictures, and that is why I had the second pair of gloves. They were a little thinner, and so I had the big glove on one hand for the motorics, for everything which doesn't have to be fine-tuned, and then for everything else I had the other one, like to push the buttons, the shutter, or to spin some wheels. And sometimes I had to take that off eventually, but yeah, then put it back on because you won't feel the fingers anymore. Same goes for your feet, obviously. So the toes will get quite cold and icy, and it makes sense to have good socks and especially good boots for walking around. They should be pretty much waterproof, because when you walk down and around in the snow all the time and you will sink in from time to time, then it makes absolute sense to have something on your feet that will protect them, otherwise you will be lost. And same goes for the trousers. I had like snowboarding trousers on because they are waterproof, and when you're in the snow all day and sometimes you want to have like a snow fight, and then you will be safe. You won't walk around in wet pants all day, so that makes a lot of sense. And then for the Northern Lights experience, for example, a tripod makes a lot of sense. Doesn't matter if you take a big camera like I did or just your phone, a tripod comes in pretty handy for long time exposure photos. If you want to learn more about that, let me know in the comments down below. Then I might do a special video about the camera settings and stuff like that as well, or just explain it down below. And yeah, a tripod is vital because you can't hold a camera or a phone still for a long time. A tripod can. When it comes down to money, in Norway they are still paying with the Norwegian krona, which is worth 100 krona are $9.37, and the other way around, if you have $1 you will get like 10 and a half, like 10.67 kronas for that. But I did a video about all the expenses in the last video, so if you're curious about that, check that one out. And if you are interested in more depth and detailed information about special things like dog sledding and stuff like that that we did, then check out the vlogs as well, because in the videos I already told a lot about it and what is special about it, what you have to keep in mind and stuff like that. If all of this does not convince you, then I have this question: who is Norway and Tromso for? And in my opinion, it is almost for everyone. If you are interested in culture, go there. There's a lot of interesting stuff to learn over there, and interesting and nice people. If you're interested in wildlife, whoa, yeah, go there. Chase reindeer. No, don't chase your reindeers. Go on the look for reindeers and for whales, maybe orcas and stuff like that. If you're into activities, there is so much to do: hiking, snowshoeing, snowmobiling, dog sledding, which are quite pricey. So if you don't have like a big budget, then maybe Norway is not the right place to go. With one exemption, like I mentioned earlier, I did a hiking trip with my brother over there. So in summer, you are allowed to camp in Norway within a distance of a minimum of, I think it was 50 or 100 meters of houses, and not on someone's property, but except from that, you are allowed to camp like everywhere. And that is so cool and so budget friendly. And it was quite easy to hitchhike there as well. So you can go budget, but yet keep in mind food and stuff like that is quite expensive still. This might be the right point of the video to talk about safety. And this country, and especially Tromso, it is so safe. It felt so like the only times you might don't feel safe are either the weather or the road conditions, or maybe in interactions with a polar bear or an orca. But yet still, I think you're not that much in danger over there at all. So yeah, really safe place. And it feels even safer if you're well prepared, and I hope this video helped with that. So leave a like and a follow already. And then we come to the last bit, which are the apps that are really important to have a good time, and one of which is the Aurora app. I already talked about in the Aurora Chase video about it. It will give you information about how likely are the northern lights to show up and how intense are they are going to be, and also the information about clouds. In our experience, that was not too reliable, so it makes sense to maybe have different apps for weather or for checking cloud movements and stuff like that, and then to be able to first with the Aurora app have a guess if there are lights, and then maybe with another app to see, are there clouds, am I able to see the lights when they're coming. And the second one is the Swiffer app, and that is really handy when you are not going for the rental car option but taking the bus. And then with the app you can book a day ticket, which is like $10 per day per person, and then you can drive all around the cities and the near surroundings, so that is quite easy as well. This brings us to the end of the video, and your last chance to hit the subscribe button down below, because there are going to be some killer videos next from Austria, from Mallorca, Spain, and more to come. And also hit the TikTok handle in here, and also my Instagram, so you will be around for more adventures, because the next videos are going to be a little time shifted because all of the following happened before Norway. So yeah, we switched that up a little so that you have the Norway videos already for planning everything for yourself, and now it's more like vlogs. And then there will be, I'm spoiling a little bit, there will be a South Asian country next, and on TikTok and Instagram there will be posts that are more like recent. On YouTube I'm always a little behind because cutting and such takes a lot of time. For you to have a good experience, I would highly appreciate a feedback about that. Do you like these videos? What are some things that you might critique or want to know that I didn't mention? This time I mixed it up a little still. Time says it's going to be a long one, so yeah, maybe I should say goodbye. See you somewhere, sometime, somehow, especially in the next video.